Hi everyone. This week we've been studying how to draw with tone or value. And in this video, we will talk about how to create form using tone. So the elements of design, we've been talking about line and shape. And now let's talk about form. Form is a three-dimensional shape. And of course, in this class and in this field of drawing, we're going to represent form in a two-dimensional drawing. Okay, you can represent it with contours, which we talked about last week, or you can represent it with tone, which is what we're talking about today. So here's an example on our right-hand side here of a drawing that is representing the form of this human face using contours and using tone. And you can see that these are two different styles and two different methods of conveying the form of this object. Last week we talked about this slide, line weight and visual depth. So think back. All right. This week we're going to talk about tone and visual depth. Remember that visual depth is the illusion of distance or three-dimensionality on a two-dimensional surface. So shading with your tone adds the illusion of volume, of solidity, and of depth to your drawing. So with tone, you are modeling the form of your object. And here are two examples here on your screen. We have this seashell, and just with the different tones, which are represented with the stippling and the patterns, we've got a depth of volume and indicating this rounded shape of the shell. On your left, of course, is Le Corbusier's Ronchamp building. It is a swooping and curved form, and you can see that our author has really indicated that with the value. So the value is helping us understand the curved form. While we're talking about value and form, let's add in the quality of light. Light is something that describes the three-dimensionality and quality of form in our environment. So your form isn't sitting by itself in a vacuum somewhere, okay? It's sitting in an environment and the light falls on and is reflected from its surface, okay? That's going to create areas of shade, of shadow, and it will give us clues about the three-dimensional qualities of that form. So as an artist, we need to render some light and dark shapes to create that form. Okay, and that's going to give us that sense of visual or spatial depth. So here's an example right over here of a cube, and it's got the light. We can tell that it's falling from above and slightly to the left. Okay, and so with shapes of value, we have created this form. So you can see that this shape, this rhombus shape of value, is creating the face of this cube. All right, and this irregular shape right here is creating the sense of shadow from that cube. Remember, shape is the two-dimensional, form is the three-dimensional expression. Wait, what is shade and what is shadow? Let's define them. So if you have an object sitting with a light source, okay, shade is the darker side of the object, okay? It's farther away from the light source. So this piece of this cube is in shade. Okay, shadow is the image cast from the object onto something else, onto the ground that they're sitting on. All right, so this part down here, this is the shadow. Okay, those are two different things, and they're usually two different values in your drawing, shade and shadow. Let's take it one step further and investigate how to illustrate this shade and shadow using different hatch patterns and a little bit more complicated object. Okay, so here we have a box. Now, this side of the box has the light directly pointing at it. All right, and we can tell that because it has the lightest value. This side of the box over here is in shade. Okay, and that shade is typically graduated, all right? It's not always 100% even over the face of the box, and in this case, it's graduated from light at the top to dark at the bottom. All right, this is typical. On the ground, we have the shadow. Remember, the shadow is cast by the object. The shade is part of the object. The shadow is not, okay? The shadow is on the ground, and it's graduated from darkest right next to the box to a little bit lighter. This is not showing much lighter, but a little bit lighter away from the box. Okay. And finally, inside the box, we've got some shade also. All right, thanks everybody. In this video, we covered how to illustrate form and visual depth using tone or value. What are we doing in this video? Okay, form. Here we go.